Welcome to the MakerSpace. My name is Jackie and I'm the MakerSpace manager. We are here with my student technician, Eva, and we're excited to hear about all of her studies and her interests and hobbies and experiences in the MakerSpace. So let me introduce Eva to everyone. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
That's good. Glad to have you here. So why don't we jump into what are your majors, minors, clubs, anything that you're involved in as far as academically at Swarthmore?
I'm currently a studio art major. I'm planning to be an honors studio art major, so fingers crossed that goes through. But I'm currently also minoring in psychology, but that might turn into art history in the next couple of weeks. I'm still not sure yet. But club-wise, I am in an a cappella group at Swarthmore, 16 feet. So it's been a lot of fun. I definitely do miss 16 feet. I am also kind of still in fencing. I unfortunately got injured last semester. I tore my ACL, so I've just kind of been sitting aside for a little bit, but hopefully I'll get back to it in the fall if we have school in the fall. But yeah, I mean, I was also in Playwright, which is an acting group, but that has unfortunately been postponed. So I think that's most of it. I'm also in chorus, so I do a lot of singing, and I'm also taking private vocal lessons in for Music 48. So yeah.
So quite a robust academic life there. Well, I'm glad that you're back on the mend from your ACL tear. That's that's got to be tough. But and what are some of your favorite mediums to work in for art so far?
I tend to mostly work with oil paints. I just got into oil paints like in the beginning of freshman year, and I haven't really looked back since. Before that, it was a lot of pencil drawings, I think, but I haven't really delved into like just creating things for fun until I got into college, and I'm glad that I did because now I'm like majoring in studio art. So it's been mostly oil paints currently, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Um, and I'm curious, when did you start working in the makerspace? Because you started before I got there. And what made you want to work in the makerspace?
I started the summer before sophomore year, I believe. I actually got hired as like the summer makerspace intern that to overlook everything when the previous head of makerspace, like he was busy trying to move out of his house. And yeah, I applied I kind of on a whim because I had no summer plans, and this was like the only opportunity for me to like maybe stay on campus and like stay with some of my friends who were doing summer research. And so I just decided to apply. I actually didn't think that I would get in because I was an art major, not very like technologically, advanced. I wasn't very good with computers, but I Russell, the previous head of Makerspace, said that it would be fine. Like, I would be able to like learn everything pretty easily. And so that did happen. And like, I was glad I had a summer to just like, sit there and help people and like just enjoy being like spending some alone time with all the machines.
Oh, that sounds like a great summer.
Oh, yeah, it was fabulous. I enjoyed it for sure.
That's great. So what have you used the makerspace for yourself, either academically or personally?
Honestly, I probably haven't used the makerspace a lot for academic purposes. Most of it has been me printing out like little 3D like figures for like my friends, like for their birthday presents. I think it's nice to have something like very customizable for my my friends, essentially like birthday presents mostly. I tend to use Makerspace. Well, I tend to like help people with like the 3D printing and like the laser cutting mostly, and I don't really use it for myself specifically. Yeah.
But yeah, so that is a common use of the makerspace. Is something that drives people to come in initially is usually making a gift for someone else, and I always find that really interesting. And then that generates more ideas for them to make stuff and learn more things as they go.
Yeah.
Um, so can you name one or more things that you have learned while working in the makerspace and using the equipment?
I learned a lot at MakerSpace actually. Like I was, well, when I had time over the summer, I did like fiddle around with like a rhino, which was like really nice because I learned how to like make something like from scratch, like from my brain kind of a thing, which is like I found very intriguing for sure. And I did wanted to dabble a little bit more in that, but I just didn't find the time to at the space. But that was one thing I learned. I learned how to like fix the 3D printers. I had like a bit of like a difficult time over the summer, I think, because like the humidity was like affecting the filaments in the 3D printers as well. And so I learned how to troubleshoot, and now I think I have it locked down pretty well, like all the steps that I need to take in order to get the filament to start extruding again. um, yeah, I learned how to like laser cut things, of course, because that was important. And I think like I had some free time to like figure out which settings would work best for a laser cutter, I think. And that's been really helpful, because sometimes like the settings that we have on like the sheet isn't necessarily the best setting because like all laser cutters are a little bit different in the way they work. So I enjoyed experimenting with that as well.
Great, and I know that you had a little bit of time to transition a little bit into the wood shop as well, right? You took a
Yes.
sculpture class, didn't you? And you did some work in there on that.
Yeah, that was very scary. I'm just a person who's like very afraid of like power tools and like loud noises. Like I have this like fear in me that like I'm gonna get caught in one of them, or my hair is gonna get caught in one of them when I had my hair very long. And like Brian, my sculpture teacher, was telling us about like horror stories about like people that did get caught in the machines. So that like kind of added fuel to what I was afraid of. But yeah, I did make a sculpture for my sculpture class. It's like kind of a, a lamp of some sort, and it changes colors. And there's like a big sculpture and like a little sculpture, and it took a lot of time, I think, to make it, only because the painting itself on the outside took quite a while because I was trying to paint like vertical and like horizontal lines on like this round sphere. And it just, yeah, I definitely enjoyed making it. I think it helped me a lot to like look at like and form like a 3D object in my head, because every time I do make something, it tends to be 2D. But I feel like adding the paint onto it as well, I like gives it like a little bit of my own touch because I am like more comfortable in painting.
Yeah, I remember you working through that, and despite all of your nervousness, you managed to push through and use the machines really well. And that's why we have those, safety protocols of tying your hair back and things
Yes.
like that to protect you from things. Can you think of a time, or it doesn't have to be just one time, but when you helped someone in the maker space with a problem or a project, and how that made you feel?
Yeah. I was trying to, let me think. Oh yeah. There was this one project where someone was trying to make like earrings for their friend. And they just like didn't know where to start to begin with. So I kind of walked them through the process of like Adobe Illustrator, how to like um, get it all set up and like make sure all the shapes cut out in like one piece instead of like multiple fragments. And also that was also the time when I started like experimenting a little bit with like the settings of the actual machine, the laser cutter itself. And I think I just had a lot of time going through the entire process of like starting out with nothing and then like coming out with like something with like within like a day. The person was trying to make like they them earrings for their friend, and so like we like fiddled with like the sizing and then the settings for the machine as well, and we ended up like with earrings that like looked really really good. So I was really excited about that for them. So yeah.
Well, that's nice, yeah, and it becomes something that's wearable and portable and makes a good gift. So what kinds of things have you been doing to stay occupied during our COVID-19 quarantine?
A lot of it has been kind of just oil painting, but like when we did transition into this like COVID-19 quarantine period, I had a really really hard time trying to like get my creative juices flowing again. And I think it's like a combination of like a lot of different things, stress and like new materials and just like a new environment. Like I just had like a really really rough time like producing something that I would be like happy with, because I felt like in my art studio at Swarthmore, there were like most of the art that I did produce, I was like pretty mostly satisfied with. I mean, I'm almost like never like fully satisfied with it, but yeah, I think like the first few paintings that I did were very constrained and like conservative because I was trying to be very conservative with the materials. I think at Swarthmore, like we're not aware of how much like waste we produce, and like oil paints are just like really expensive. So like at Swarthmore, I'm like blobs of oil paint that like I can throw away, and that's like a little like it's it's a privilege honestly, but like here I have like little tubes, I don't want to waste it. So I think I was painting very conservatively. I wasn't like it just wasn't the process I was going through at Swarthmore. But as like time went on, I think most of my paintings now are a little bit more like free form. I've kind of transitioned from like perfect realism to like that was what I really liked beforehand, into something that's more like I'm just going to channel my frustrations onto this painting, and I think it's working out a lot better than the little tiny like detailed work that I've been trying to do. So I'm excited to see where it goes within the next 2 weeks as I approach my final week of art class for sure.
That's great. Sounds like a nice progression there, and like you're kind of working through some breakthroughs
Mm-hmm.
with that. So that's wonderful. And what are some maker related topics that you would like to learn more about, or skills that you want to learn more?
I think going into like probably next semester or even this summer, like I really wanted to learn how to like sew things. I feel like that's just kind of like an important thing that everybody just kind of needs to know if you want to like like hem something or like fix a hole. Like my mom, she like currently works at a dry cleaners, and so she just recently, because she just got the business actually, like she just recently learned how to like sew clothing and like fix and I don't know what the technical term is.
Mending,
Yeah,
mending
mending
clothes. Yeah.
mending clothes. And
Hmm.
so yeah, right now she's also trying to make face masks, like cloth face masks as well. And like I feel like just even like during this pandemic and just like in general, like just learning how to sew would be like an important skill to learn, and I kind of wanted to learn that. And also like I feel like going into like fashion, it's like something that I've been like kind of interested in, and I kind of want to put my toe in the water and like see what that would be like, honestly, because I love like clothes. I love like wearing like fun things, and just like that extra like knowing how to sew might like be very very helpful, I feel like, in the future.
Yeah, that's definitely a skill that we could all benefit from, even if it's just mending our own clothes at home. And if your mom is interested, we do have some resources for making PPE on our MakerSpace website. Um, so that's great. And my last question is, what is your favorite thing that you've ever made? Or it doesn't have to be one thing, and it doesn't have to be in the MakerSpace. It can be anything.
that I've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it doesn't have to be from MakerSpace.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay. I think that my most favorite thing I've ever made, probably, I feel like my final art project during my first year of painting at Swarthmore. It was just like this huge, like, I think like 4x3 painting self portrait of myself. It was kind of like surreal. There were like teal clouds in the background and like red hills, and it was something that I felt like very accomplished, like finishing, because it was my first year of painting, and I like that was the one piece that I really did love. And I spent like so much time like planning it out and like painting it and like getting feedback from like my other like peers and also my professor. It was just like seeing that final painting in all its glory just kind of like made me like very proud of like myself and like the work that I put in. So I'm waiting for something like that to happen again. I'm not sure if it's going to be this semester, but hopefully as I progress through my studio art major journey, I will figure out something similar to that.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those experiences where you can hold on to that memory, and you know that that's something that you didn't expect to see coming, so that can happen again in the future. And so that's really exciting. Once that happens, it's a really big boost of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen with any medium that you're making with. So anything else you'd like to share about you personally or your experience in the makerspace?
Uh, no, not really. I feel like people just need to know that there is a makerspace and like you should definitely come. I feel like it was definitely underutilized. Even like during my summer there, like only a few people came by. Like I feel like we have been advertising a little bit more and like trying to get more people into makerspace, which is great. But honestly, I think you should just come in and like enjoy all the things that you could do here and like learn how to like 3D print things and like laser cut things. I feel like that's important.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Eva. You got to come to the makerspace if you want to learn the tools and make stuff in the makerspace. All right. Well, that concludes our interview with Eva, and stay tuned for more interviews and webinars and tutorials from the Makerspace at Swarthmore. And thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe during this quarantine.